We're at a beautiful historic Victorian home right outside of Boston, building a new roof. All we have to do is figure out how to frame this. And we are one step closer to getting the clients back into their home. We've got Richard, our master framer from Auburndale Builders. He's going to walk us through the most complicated roof frame we have ever done. Hey, Richard, thank you for walking me through this. I have a huge question for you. How did you do this?
Well, the first thing I thought about is secure the walls so it doesn't collapse inside, because the rafters themselves were really like ready to fall in.
Yeah.
So we had to secure first floor, second floor, and make sure that everything was secured. And then we can figure out which ridge we were really going to start from. Mm-hmm. Because it was historical,
yeah,
we couldn't change any height.
So you had to maintain the outside, the sheathing line, if you will, of this house and frame it from the inside out, in effect? And make
Yes, so this is kind of a different framing because we are starting from the top going down.
You didn't have the luxury of putting a nice new foundation in, obviously.
Well, usually when you're framing, you start from the first floor going up.
Yep.
So this way we can't post a lot of our stuff, so we have to temporarily post.
Yep.
But the most crazy thing about it is we had to start from lowest point.
Yep. Which was where? At the street?
Well, the street
side?
was dropping 3 inches.
3 inches, yep.
So we had to start from the lowest point.
Yep.
And connect it to the back.
Yep.
But we did have to start from the back to get our starting point.
Correct.
And then everything connects one to the other. So somebody else might have started from the front to the back or the back to the front because it's like brand new.
But it's not in this case, right?
Well, this part we have to make sure we're connecting what we need. So we're starting from one point, but we have to meet to the front.
You show me where you started?
So we needed to start with a girder truss that holds the whole back of the house.
Yeah.
And we had to have this custom steel plate installed so our ridge will hold on to the front. Those get posted, but we can't post it now because we don't have anything to post to.
Did you have to put temporary walls in here in effect and shoring and straps and braces and all that stuff to then cut the ridge out?
So we had to make temporary staging.
Yeah.
From the staging, we had to hold this roof together.
Correct.
And then cut out the center part.
Yep.
And get our ridge installed. After our ridge was installed, then we could start putting rafters.
So you slowly started at the back of the house, you disassembled some of the old sheathing and rafters and started putting new rafters in, just working your way towards the street? So
yes, to a point that we can't go any further because another part has to be done before you get the valleys and hips. So a lot of it is like, we need this part to get that part. So you're going one step, then going reverse and coming
very
back.
Slow, very methodical. So Richard, the ridge over us, as I understand it, was the first one to go in. And then because of sequencing, how you were just explaining, where's the second ridge? What did you have to do for the next step to get this tangled frame all to come together?
That next one, we had to go to the main house.
Yeah.
Would have been the main ridge really across so we can have hips. Because those hips really get reconnected to the front.
Oh, I see it now. I see it. It is complicated.
So before, the roof was framed kind of the same directions, but didn't have live valleys. This house was additions on additions and had the same directions, but now we have to make it structurally. So now we have to have these live valleys, but we have to have connections to everything. So now we're connecting beams to hold another beam, but our ridges and hips need to have special hangers as it wasn't made like that before. They had no directions when they built in 1782 or something like that.
1887.
Yeah.
So Richard, did this beam have to go in almost third after you set this ridge in order for these valleys to have somewhere to sit?
We had to have that one temporarily installed.
Yeah.
And posted, so we had to go from the first floor.
Yep.
And block it off to get this beam.
Yep.
Holding all this weight.
So Richard, after you set this beam in this valley, were you infilling rafters as you go?
So as much as I could, I'd fill in everything that was part of that back roof because this was winter.
You had tough conditions.
I was trying to close in tarp and anything that could be filled we were trying to fill it.
Right.
But-
So after that, these ridges that are now running from this valley all the way to the gables at the street, was that your next step in setting these two ridges?
Yes, so we needed these to connect to those.
Correct.
But those are original
Yeah,
gables, and it's historical. We couldn't change heights.
correct.
So because of that, that is now pushing our level to this side. So we had to put these at the original height.
Yeah.
Couldn't change that.
So you then leveled this ridge backwards until it hit that valley.
Yes.
Makes sense. This did not change in elevation or
No.
location at all.
No.
Okay.
Then from that point, at least we had another direction. So now we have to put this live valley,
Yep.
and now we have another connection that we can start filling rafters. So the center, that's a live valley that was kind of like that before. They already had these old gables where they were framed inside the house, and they overlaid. Well, we can't do that anymore. We have to be structurally sound.
Correct.
That's why we have these big beams going all the way to the basement, and we have all these points of pressure.
Right.
So these now are all structural. They weren't structural before.
So Richard, this beam that goes across, it's in one piece. As I understand it, it was designed in three pieces, but because you're building backwards, you're starting from the roof instead of the first floor, as you said earlier. You had asked the architect if you could do this in one piece so you could tie these roofs together so it's secure and safe during the construction, and then you're going to post it later on.
Yeah, that's the reason we wanted to have it in one piece.
Yeah.
Is that we can't post it now.
Because there was nothing to post it to.
No. So because we're reversing and framing from the top bottom,
Yeah.
we can't start and structurally start first floor, second floor, then to here.
Right.
So we asked them if we could do it from side to side, and it makes it stronger.
Correct. Because the floor that we're standing on, this is completely new construction. We've got floor joists now that span the entire way, and this is locking the two walls together. This floor was very much out of level, and it was compromised structurally. So you didn't have the luxury of this floor being here when you were framing the roof over our head. You had a really rough floor here.
It's probably the worst floor we've ever seen and ever worked with.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like the nightmare of somebody that's hiding all the imperfections.
Yeah.
And this is balloon framed.
Right.
So our floor now is connected to one wall to the other wall, no splices. Anybody could have done a center partition. You can have two rafters or
Yeah.
two eye joists
Yeah.
next to each other.
Right.
We had the opportunity to go from one wall
Yeah.
to the other wall and make it a solid connection.
Perfect explanation. You had the opportunity to frame it better, so you did. So, Richard, from the street, these two gables look like they did 150 years ago, almost. So, is that an 11 and a quarter inch double here?
Yes, so that's the structural beam that they asked for.
Okay.
But when you see the framing, because there's a 12 pitch hitting a 6 pitch,
Yeah.
this is how it was framed originally.
I see.
With a
Yeah.
structural beam, and then these two connections just changed from 6 to 12.
Correct.
The other ridge is supposed to be exactly the same, the way it's framed, where the shed roof hits the 12 pitch.
Yep.
But we asked the architect if we could change so we don't have these double LVLs on one side, double LVLs
Right.
on the other side. We asked him if we could change it to a 16-inch LVL
Yep,
and
that
have
ridge.
that shed roof hit the bottom of it
Right.
and fake the 12 pitch on top.
Oh, so you've got a little overlay roof on top of the 12 pitch to compensate for the height of the taller ridge.
Yes.
You've got a very small roof.
So we lost a lot of these LVL beams that would have been across and
Yeah.
pushing all this pressure to the bottom.
Right.
We took everything that's going to be posted anyway on these huge structural beams.
Yep.
For me, I find it more structurally sound.
And
less
easier to build
complicated.
because you're building it backwards. You're starting from the top down.
So to me, it's less complicated.
Agreed. So, Richard, I've never been in a house this old, 1887, that didn't have additions on top of additions on top of additions. So, was there anything out here in the front of the house that was super complex or needed additional work? Was it falling off? Was it separating? What was going on over here?
Well, it's like I said, that these old gables were still inside the attic. So they had, the building was still inside.
Right.
So they had a bad connection here that they had added on to here, and they never really connected it well. So this porch was falling in 3 inches.
Yep.
So this separation here, you can even see outside.
And you've closed that up.
We pulled this 1.5 inches
back in,
but we couldn't bring it all in. So we did, from the floor, we did have a connection now that's going from outside to here, at least 16 inches of LVL connected to the base.
And what is this? Why is this dormer here? Was this dormer an addition? Was the original house just this roof line here? Did this run right through?
So somebody at one time decided they wanted a higher ceiling, a higher dormer.
Yeah.
So they took the knee wall that was here, still was here.
Yeah.
And they added on top of a knee wall.
They just stacked on top?
So that's a hinge.
Correct.
So what they did is they framed on top and did a shed roof.
Yeah.
But what happens with that, they should have had structurally fixed that hinge, but they didn't. So we did. They're putting brand new windows. So now we have structural posts, LVLs, and we had this LVL grabbing all of this crude solid.
Yeah.
And now we have a solid connection.
Looks awesome.
On this side, we had a post and beam connection that was right here. So this post and beam connection was separating, I'm talking about probably 1.5 inches separation. So we decided to put, in the plan there was an LVL going back on top of here, but we put a plate from one end to the other end, so we connected it together. So now this separation is not gonna happen. And then we have a solid LVL beam on the top of it. So now this is one piece. So you don't have this separation is gonna happen again. And we did the same thing on this side. We put a plate from one side to the other side. We don't have this separation that's gonna happen.
So Richard, I know you explained to me that this top plate is level, the ridge over my head is level. So installing these rafters was relatively straightforward. You could cut them all the same. Now, just looking through here, I can see a lot of these top plates are not level. So did you have to individually cut a lot of these rafters? The lengths all changed slightly?
Well, what happens, like before that, we were talking about that ridge. Now this ridge is level, but doesn't meet the rafter that was original because we're dropping the height of that one 2 inches.
Correct.
Now these rafters have to meet that ridge. So every rafter is pretty much individually measured and cut.
Right. And I understand you also have left all the soffits and all the exterior trim intact. You haven't removed it. From historic, that you were required to leave that in place, so you had that other obstacle to work around, right?
Yeah, so it's a really detailed historical trim.
Yeah.
And they want to keep it original.
Right, which is
so
understandable.
Now we're trying to get with level, unlevel, trying to match it, and we were able to try to connect all of them together.
It's awesome. Speaking of connections, I see you've got hangers here on the ends of the rafters, and there's all sorts of interesting hardware in here. Can you explain some of these to us, please?
Well, now, by code, everything has to be full connections. We want these rafter hangers, side hangers, hurricane clips.
Yeah.
These all have to be done, it's for code, but it's done for structural.
Yeah.
So here we had to make that one that was like a custom. So we had to get a welding company
to
give us a custom hanger, because this is not normally.
They didn't have that at the lumberyard, I'm guessing?
No,
So
you can't order that on
Did you
the
make a
counter.
template for this to give it to the steel fabricator?
So we did a cardboard template, almost like paper mache project. And we gave it to them, and they just made the copy of it.
That's awesome. I see you've got these bolts here on this custom fabricated bracket here. What about all of these other hangers? How did you, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of nails. How'd you fasten all these?
Well, a long time ago, she had to do everything by hand.
Yeah.
Now we have guns, and they'll shoot a 2.5 to 1/4 inch hanger nail. And you have to have a specific nail. It has to be a hanger nail.
Yeah.
You can't fill it with just any kind of nail.
Correct, to get the shear load.
Yes. So they even have a dot to tell you that it's a hanger nail.
Correct.
So now It's easier with a gun, and sometimes you still have to do it by hand. You don't have
Yeah, you
the
can't get the
room.
gun in every little tight
No.
space. But
You don't have the room to put the gun. If the gun doesn't fit, you got to do it
get the
by
hammer.
hand.
It still works. So you have one more really elaborate bracket down here for this girder truss, don't you, Richard?
Yes.
So can you explain to me what this is doing?
So this is a girder truss. You can have an engineered girder truss.
Yeah.
This is one that we have to make ourselves because it's not something. With having a cathedral ceiling,
Yeah.
it's holding our ceiling, but our ridge is holding from this point.
Correct.
So this is a huge metal plate welded by our welding company.
It's through bolted as well?
Yeah, but there's like another hanger welded to this plate.
Yep.
So now our girder and our ridge are totally connected together.
Right, because this ridge does not go out to the gable wall because we've got a Dutch hip here, so we needed the girder truss to take the end load from this ridge.
Yes, there's
Okay.
no way to post it.
Right, you can't. It would be in the middle of the bedroom.
Yes.
All right, so Richard, this is looking awesome. All these beams and all these ridges, I think what we're not seeing here is there a bearing wall that goes down the center here, and then are we going to post up from this beam to the ridge over us in all these locations?
Yes. The main petition is our bearing wall. So
Yeah.
this has to be started from the basement.
Yeah.
But we couldn't do that at the beginning. So now we're going to have the main petition
Yeah,
bearing to our beams,
Yeah.
our beams to our ridges, and then mechanical connections from one to the other. So now
Yeah.
everything's connected all the way to the basement.
right. That takes care of this ridge over our head. Can you explain the interaction between the next beam as we walk towards the street and the ridge that's above it?
Well, the reason for all these beams is to catch all the pressure points.
Yeah,
So we have pressure points from live valley, cross valley, ridges, and
Yeah.
hips. So this beam will grab this ridge itself.
yeah,
We have another cross piece from a hip to hip. It's really a live valley.
yeah,
And we need to post that to the second beam. And that has to carry down to the first floor to the basement. So everything gets posted.
So all of these posts, the load paths are going right to the basement.
We have to find a way, if it's in the middle of a room,
Yeah.
that needs another LVL to take the load.
Yeah.
So you have to find somewhere to get the load to the basement.
Richard, you've done a ton of work here. These ceiling heights are awesome. What's the benefit to the homeowner when these spaces are done? What is this ceiling in this room going to look like?
Well, what's nice about having to start from fresh is now that we see these lines,
Yeah,
we're talking about giving it more height and giving it a cathedral feeling.
Yeah.
Because the back end is now it's like a huge big cathedral.
yeah.
We're going to try to get these rooms to have that feel.
No more flat ceilings in here.
No more
No
flat
more low ceilings.
But it's like the homeowner was telling me, these floors were so off level that her desk with wheels would roll back. So now we're getting
We
to
put an end to that.
we're having a historical house
Yeah,
modernized to having flat floors, nice high ceilings, and a little bit more of a new and old mixed together.
yeah. So you're trying to bring back some of the original grandeur because this is a historic home right outside of Boston. We're going to give it these high sloping ceilings and including down here the turret in the corner, Richard.
Yeah.
I think you told me you're going to raise the ceiling height another 7 or 8 feet.
Yes.
So it's going to be a fun space.
Originally, it was just pretty much like a few inches above the windows.
The ceiling height?
Yeah. So now we have a chance of making this a really beautiful space and having it 8 foot taller than it used to be.
Yeah.
And having this like a showcase area.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun space. It seems like one of the coolest rooms you've ever built.
Yes.
It's really nice. Thank you, Richard, for showing us this place. It's amazing. Your team and Auburndale Builders have knocked it out of the park. It's really awesome. It's something we're looking forward to the next steps, and we'll be back and see what this looks like when you're done.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.